Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
So today we're going to be looking at a story that's been all over the news lately.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Diddy Combs,
Jake story. Yeah.
as a music icon, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But right now he's caught up in a big legal battle, facing some serious federal charges and really fighting to stay out of jail.
Yeah, he's facing an uphill battle for sure.
We've been digging into all the court filings, news reports, all that stuff, and it's wild.
Really is.
We're talking accusations of witness tampering, a controversial jail cell search, and his ongoing attempts to get released on bail.
Absolutely. A lot of layers to this one. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so this is more than just your typical celebrity gossip, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure. This case gets into some pretty heavy legal territory.
Like what kind of stuff?
Well, we're talking about fundamental rights here, like the right to a fair trial, that kind of thing. And then you've got the whole question of attorney-client privilege.
Right, right. Okay, so for anyone who hasn't been following this whole thing super closely, let's rewind a bit. Can you give us the rundown of what Diddy's been accused of?
Yeah, so back in September, Diddy was arrested and hit with some really serious charges. We're talking sex trafficking, racketeering, even transportation to engage in prostitution.
Whoa.
Yeah, serious stuff.
Good.
He's currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, and he's pleaded not guilty to all of the charges.
Okay, but now his lawyers are trying to get him released on bond, right?
Exactly. This is actually their third attempt to get him out.
Third attempt. Wow. Okay, so what's different this time around?
Well, this latest attempt really hinges on some notes that were taken from Diddy's jail cell.
Notes from his jail cell.
Yeah, like handwritten notes.
Okay.
And now the prosecutors are saying these notes show that he was trying to influence potential witnesses.
Interesting. But his lawyers are obviously pushing back on that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're saying that taking those notes was a complete violation of Diddy's constitutional rights.
I mean, his right to privacy and all that.
Exactly. And they're even calling it outrageous government conduct.
Okay. Outrageous government conduct. What does that even mean, legally speaking?
So outrageous government conduct is a legal term. Basically, it refers to actions taken by law enforcement that are so over the top, so shocking, that they actually violate a defendant's due process rights.
So, like, the ends don't justify the means kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the government can't just break the law to enforce the law.
Right. Makes sense. And then you've got the attorney-client privilege issue too, right?
Huge issue. Attorney-client privilege is like a bedrock principle of our legal system. It's there to ensure that defendants can talk openly and honestly with their lawyers.
Without fear of, anything they say being used against them.
Precisely. And Diddy's lawyers are arguing that by seizing these notes, which supposedly include discussions about their defense strategy and potential witnesses, the government basically undermined that whole privilege.
So it's like the government was eavesdropping on a private conversation.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty complicated.
It is. And then to make things even more complicated, there's this whole thing about a filter team.
A filter team, what's that?
Okay, so a filter team is basically a separate group of prosecutors and investigators who are completely independent from the main trial team.
Okay.
And they're brought in specifically to review any seized materials that might contain privileged information.
Like those conversations between Diddy and his lawyers.
Exactly. Or medical records, things like that.
Right.
And their job is to go through everything very carefully and separate out any privileged material so that the main trial team never even sees it.
Okay, so it's like an extra layer of protection for the defendant's rights.
That's the idea, anyway.
But does it actually work that way? I mean, is this filter team thing standard procedure, or are we talking about some kind of loophole?
That's a really good question, and that's actually what the judge has to decide.
So whether this was done by the book in Diddy's case and whether this filter team actually did their job properly?
Exactly.
Those are some key questions.
And it sounds like the judge is taking all of this very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Because the latest news is that he's actually decided to exclude those notes from the upcoming bail hearing.
Big development for sure.
So what does this mean for Diddy's chances of actually being released?
Well, I think it's definitely a win for the defense.
How so?
By excluding the notes, the judge is basically saying that, yeah, there are some serious doubts about how those notes were obtained in the first place.
Okay.
And that could give Diddy's legal team some real leverage when they're arguing for bail.
Interesting. So we've got this whole legal back and forth playing out. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a real person here.
Right.
Someone who's facing some incredibly serious accusations and is fighting for his freedom.
Absolutely. The stakes are incredibly high.
And there's also that other detail you mentioned earlier about some of the notes being personal.
Yeah, that's the part that I find really fascinating.
The prosecutor mentioned that, right?
Yeah, he said some of the notes were things like inspirational quotes family birthdays,
Really?
which makes you wonder how thorough was this search?
Yeah. Were they really looking for evidence of witness tampering, or were they just digging for anything they could find?
Right. It just raises all sorts of questions.
So much to unpack here. We've got high stakes, legal drama, fundamental rights hanging in the balance, and a music icon fighting for his future.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And the story's not over yet. The bail hearing is happening on Friday. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on things and see what happens.
Absolutely. Will Diddy be released? What's the next move for his legal team? So many questions.
This case really makes you think about how complicated our legal system is.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
like, how do you balance the need to ensure a fair trial with the need to give law enforcement the tools to do their jobs and investigate wrongdoing?
Big questions, no answers.
Really gets the wheels turning.
Ugh.
So what do y'all think about this whole situation? Let us know in the comments. And hey, while you're down there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives.
Always appreciate your support.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye it.